Hello and welcome to Crickpedia. And what we are going to talk about today is something many Indian fans are waiting for: India's tour of England. India's recent history in Test cricket in England. In June, we lost to New Zealand in a World Test Championship final. Before that, we toured England in 2018. That was again a one off series where we lost 4-1 against England. Another poor loss, except one victory that was nothing about the Indian batsman performing there. Then, before that, in 2014, again we lost to England 3-1 in their own home grounds. We beat them at Lords, but it wasn't enough to clinch the series, and we lost 3-1. Before that, in 2011, just after winning the World Cup, the Indian team had gone to England. You had the likes of Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, but again, we had lost 4-0 over there. So, India hasn't defeated England in England since the past, I think, 14 years. Let's look at the home side first. What do you have from England in this series? You have brilliant openers in the form of Dom Sibley, Zach Crawley, Rory Burns. Then you have Joe Root, an exceptional captain and, well, a superb batsman. Then in the middle order, you have Oli Pope, you have Joss Butler, you have Johnny Bairstow. But there's one big name that's missing in this England squad who's not going to feature in any of the test matches. That's Ben Stokes. Not having him, he gives you overs, he bats. It's a big loss, and that's why England would like to cover that kind of gap over there. And that's why I'm looking at another very young, promising talent from England, and he's been proving himself for the past 3 to 4 years. That's Sam Curran. The last time India went to play England in 2018, Sam Curran was a big part of England winning that series because he constantly irritated India. And that's why Sam Curran is that guy I'm looking at, because he can actually be the guy who turns everything in favour of England. In the IPL again, he was playing so well for the Chennai Super Kings. Then again, when England had come here in that 3-match ODI series, Sam Curran proved to be that guy, that ray of hope that England would look at. And that's why if Ben Stokes is in there, I'm going to really focus on Sam Curran, because I think this is, a series that can actually make him a global superstar. Jofra Archer hasn't been named there in that England squad for the first 2 test matches. I don't know if he recovers well, he may be back for the third, fourth, and the fifth, but we can hope for that. As of now, this side will have James Anderson and Stuart Broad as their prime bowlers, and well, those two having more than 500 wickets, Stuart Broad, and 600 for James Anderson, are a lethal pair. What do we have for the Indians here? Now, Shubman Gill, Washington Sundar, and Avesh Khan were named in the squad initially, but because of injury, they are out of that squad. So you have Surya Kumar Yadav and Prithvi Shaw picked from the T20s to play some Test cricket in England. So if Shubman Gill isn't there, your prime opening pair of Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma isn't there anymore. So you would go to Mayank Agarwal and Rohit Sharma. Now the problem is, even Mayank Agarwal isn't there. So there's a big chance that KL Rahul opens, because Mayank Agarwal in the next session got hit by a deadly Mohammad Siraj bouncer, and that's the reason he won't be there in that first Test match. So you have a big chance that KL Rahul opens with Rohit Sharma. Then you have a very strong middle order, but it's not been firing since the last few years. Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, and Chiteshwar Pujara. They have a lot of runs behind them, a lot of experience behind them, a good enough average, but they aren't performing since the past few years, and this is going to be a big concern. Last time India had come to England, Virat Kohli had scored 593 runs. That's a lot. Comparing to what he had scored in 2014, it was just 130 in his 10 innings, which was a dismal performance. But then he completely changed that. Now again, he hasn't scored a century since the last 2 years. Same goes to Chiteshwar Pujara. Even he's been up and down. Playing out deliveries is his forte. To stay there on the crease is his forte. But over here, he'll have to score a few runs as well. Ajinkya Rahane, traditionally a guy who likes to score runs outside India, having a century at Lords in that famous 2014 victory, has to do again something special that proves that he is again a fine middle order batsman. What about the all-rounders? You have Ravindra Jadeja, you have Akshar Patel. A lot of spin won't be used there, so it will be a bit of a toss-up between Ashwin and Jadeja who's going to play, because you have 6 fast bowlers. What's going to be India's first 11 to start with? As I said, Shubman Gill is in there, so you started with Mayank Agarwal and Rohit Sharma, but even Mayank Agarwal is not going to be available for the first Test match. So KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma ideally form that perfect opening pair, or they can be a bit of a left field choice, which even I think it's a left field choice, but many people think it's quite normal that you open with Hanuma Vihari and Rohit Sharma, because Hanuma Vihari traditionally prefers to bat at that opening slot, and he has done well when he's batted in that opening slot. In domestic cricket and even in a few international games, I remember one against West Indies when he opened the innings, and he was pretty good. So, well, it's all to choose between KL Rahul and Hanuma Vihari, because Rohit Sharma certainly takes one spot. I would go with KL Rahul. Probably he's been playing well, so I think it's unfair if you don't give him another go in Test cricket. Then Chiteshwar Pujara at number 3, Virat Kohli at number 4, Ajinkya Rahane at number 5 to start with. I mean, you don't know, because Kohli may not leave his spot because he's the captain of the side. Plus, he has scored so many runs, and I feel he'll be back in form. But Pujara and Rahane really need to score runs if they want to stay in that side, because however experienced you are, your spot isn't permanent in an Indian team, because there's so many options to choose from, and that's why I feel it's going to be a very big series for Pujara and Rahane both to score enough runs that they stay in the team. Then you have probably at number 6 you'll go with the wicketkeeper, either Saha or Pant. Obviously Pant is the first choice wicketkeeper for you right now because he bats well. He has a good 100 plus score in England earlier. Last time when India had gone to England, Rishabh Pant had scored a wonderful 100 in the last test match, and that's why I feel he'll come at number 6. 7, now it's a bit of a toss up between Jadeja and Ashwin. Now if you want to play both of them, you play at number 7 Ravindra Jadeja, at number 8 Ravichandran Ashwin, then go with 3 fast bowlers. So that's going to be 5 bowlers. You go with 2 spinners and 3 fast bowlers. Or you want to play only one of the 2 spinners and trust your top 6, so that, I mean, you can even trust Ashwin with the bat, but maybe not in those swinging conditions. So if you trust your top 6, you just go with Ashwin at number 7 and then play 4 fast bowlers. That's going to be Ishant Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami. They're going to be the 3 prime fast bowlers, and then Mohammad Siraj as well, because he can be very lethal in those England conditions with a Duke's ball. Now we are already in the second half of the English summer. The first half, it's really cold. Now it's almost, the temperatures are going up. It's going to be quite tough for the bowlers as well. If they don't find swing on day 1, it's going to be really tough. So it's all going to be on how the weather plays. But prime factor playing in England is the swing, and that's why you may go with 4 fast bowlers. One more thing that I want to point out here is that Jasprit Bumrah is not having a great back as of now. I don't know if he can survive all 5 test matches, or is India going to play a bit of a trick here, play him in the first, playing him in the third, and then playing him in the 4th or the 5th, depending on which one is more important. So that's why you may see Bumrah starting off. So India starting off with 2 spinners and 3 fast bowlers, and then Bumrah being rested for the second test match, and you may have Siraj coming in, or you may see even Ishant being rested, and you may have Umesh Yadav coming in. You have so many options. You have Shardul Thakur, who is a prime swing bowler, but to start off with, it's going to be Ishant, Bumrah and Shami. So that's going to be my first 11 with 5 bowling options. That's Jadeja, Ashwin, Ishant, Bumrah and Shami, and then you have 6 proper batting options. So if India starts with this, what are going to be India's chances in that first test match at Nottingham? I would say India has a lot of chances. If you enjoy this cricketing fun, do like, share and comment. And do subscribe the channel and press the notification bell for my further videos.